Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Fireside Chat. My name is Cezar Williams, and I am the artistic director of the Fire This Time Festival. And it is my honor to welcome FELISPEAKS to the Fireside Chat. Their play Out will be featured in our 10-minute play program this January. Welcome, FELISPEAKS, to the program. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm so
Oh, it is our
excited.
pleasure. Oh, we are so excited to have you and your play in the festival. What can you tell us about your play Out?
It's basically about a queer person and a queer Black Irish girl and her mother, her Nigerian mother, coming to terms with understanding who she is. I didn't want to come from the specific space of coming out. I wanted her to already be out. And I think that's where the title comes from as well. And I think I wanted them to share a really unique interesting story that exists, but that I've never seen before, which is not just dealing with queerness and her, the daughter being the her, specifically coming out or anything like that. I wanted it to be that we're in the middle of the story, not at the beginning of the story. But secondly, I also wanted there to be a different subtext of like an older generational queerness that didn't have language to explain their queerness. And I wanted that to come from her mother as well, about her dad. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to play with multiple things. One, um, a story that doesn't begin at the beginning, but in the middle of the queer story, and also about an older generational queerness story. So I wanted to merge those things together.
Is Out your first 10-minute play that you've written, or have you written other 10-minute plays in the past?
The shortest I've done before this would have been a 20-minute play. Otherwise, this is probably the shortest play I've ever written. And I think what was exciting and challenging about it was that you get invited into a snippet, a vignette of a story, and it be a complete story in itself. So that was really exciting for me and also like, ooh, challenging. I'd like them to experience my writing as if I am somebody that had a lot of depth of thought before I wrote. Um, and that also that I'm a complicated person as the story is complicated. I think those are the two main things. I don't think I try to impose myself as a writer, more that I try to reveal myself as a person. You don't have to learn anything. I'm not wagging a finger at you as I present my artistry. I think it's just about discovery for me.
Uh, do you have any other projects or productions or passions that you're currently working on?
A year of writing for me. I've written 4 plays this year, which has been, I wouldn't say challenging, it's just been quite expanding. Because my tagline as an artist is I'm a poet, performer, playwright. And I'd say this is the year that I've had to prove to myself how much of a playwright that I really am. I have a few plays happening this year, or the groundwork of it happened this year that's coming up next year. Um, and another thing is that every time I find a box to enter, I go in and I blow it up, which is so fun. The other one that I wrote was called Wait. That's a 20-minute play about um, a Black Irish woman who migrated to Ireland, and you get to watch her chase her husband's dreams on his behalf and realize that she should have been dreaming for herself. Um, so I didn't want it to just be like, oh, the big migration story. I wanted it to be about the intricacies in the middle of that big story that we often tell. Another one is this is called Octopus Children, and instead of it being a traditional play, it's it started off as an EP that I
Hmm.
didn't release. It's like a love letter to Blackness and Black people, and each tentacle of the octopus is basically dealing with a facet of Blackness. So it starts from the individual and expands into the collective. And so, how do you turn an EP into a theater production? That's the exciting thing that I'm exploring next year. So I've just finished that script and submitted it. This is my first time speaking about it publicly, and that's going to be part of Dublin Fringe Festival next year in September in Dublin. So I'm really, really excited about what that is. So it's a play, it has a narrative form, but also there's music, there's choreography, there's poetry. Um, so there's that. And the people still call in that the production team is to call in their play. I guess it's a play.
If folks wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing, how can they find it?
You can find me at FELISPEAKS on Instagram. Don't follow me on Twitter. Twitter is for chatting absolute wasp. I'm not doing anything serious on Twitter, but every time people follow me on Twitter, they're expecting me to be serious. And I'm like, I'm just here to be black. But my Instagram and my website has all the goodies and all the fun things. Um, Hopefully, the more ex- I get out there and the more exposed I am as an artist, the more funding and the more recorded pieces of works that you can find online. But yeah, you can find things on my Instagram at Feli.
If if you had a time machine and you could go back to speak to your younger self, what advice or what would you tell yourself if you could go back to yourself when maybe you were 10?
I think I would say that you're not insane. I think I spent so much of my teenage years and my preteens started this off thinking that how different I was a wrong thing and a bad thing and a thing that needed to be corrected. I spent so much of my early years feeling shame about the things I felt about who I am, feeling shame about things that there weren't words for when I was younger. And that's not even that long ago. I'm basically a Zennial, whatever that word is, the cusp of Gen Z, cusp of millennial. I'm a 1995 baby, so they don't know where to put us. But it wasn't even that long ago, but I lived in the timeline. I was a teenager in the timeline where I was experiencing gender dysphoria before I understood what that meant, or I was experiencing queerness before I realized that it was safe to be queer. Um, I was having spiritual experiences before I knew that those things were essential to artistry and creativity. I think I would say that you're not a weirdo. Maybe you are, but who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory being an artist, a performer, a creative, a storyteller?
I have a few, but one of the first ones, myself and one of my best friends, we had gotten into the game and the game being artistry really without any understanding of how big the world of art was, but just with all the love for creativity and love for creating. So we were in the slam poetry circuit and we had this lady more or less discover us and be like, yo, you guys should try and write something for Dublin Fringe Festival. That's where all the cool kids go. We had no idea how big Dublin Fringe Festival was. We had no idea how important it was to other people. So we put in this like makeshift crappy script. We hadn't even written anything. We just had an idea and some konas on us. And we were like, okay, we'll enter this thing. We entered, we were like one out of 180 people who got selected or something out of 350. We cobbled a script together, write a whole bunch of amazing poems with no proper narrative structure. This lady helped us put a narrative structure around it. We made all our friends get into it. We made them actors. Two of them went on to actually go to drama school and become actual actors, which was incredible. We were like the debut. And I remember we did all this, we put it on. We were an all black cast. So we were doing revolutionary things before we even realized that that's what it was, right? And I
Mhm.
remember at the end of the festival, we still didn't understand how big it was, but at the end of the festival, I got nominated Best Performer. And this is the first thing I've ever done on any important scale. in theater, exact as well, being something I didn't train in at all. And I remember when I went to the award ceremony, obviously I didn't win because you're a baby, but I realized what an honor in my infancy as an artist to be seen, to be felt, to be recognized, and to be told you have something special.
Do you have a quote or a mantra or a philosophy that helps you make it through the day when times are hard or when you feel a little lost as an artist or as a person?
Hmm. There's two. Um, One, I recently come across an Octavia Butler quote. It's something to the effect of change is God. That's the end of the quote, or God is change. And I've been going through a lot of change in the past 2 years, and it's made me feel quite rocky as both a person and as an artist, and as someone who believes wholeheartedly that this is what I've been designed to do. Like I'm fulfilling destiny by being an artist based on the impact of my creations and how fulfilled I feel. Like this is what I'm meant to do. Change has really rocked that narrative for me. And I came across this Octavia Butler quote and it really made me go, ah, because it's something like all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. God is change. The fact that I'm experiencing change in the midst of the comfort zones I've designed in my artistry mean I'm still connected to self. I'm still connected to God. And God has changed. Said, all right, Felicia, get a grip. That
That's,
really helped me. The second quote is I discovered this quote in 2020 during the height of George Floyd's demise. And we had another George in Ireland that was unfortunately murdered by the police as well. And his passing was December 30th. And I remember just being like, feeling this before Georgianchenko died. We're really protesting about George Floyd in Ireland. And I wrote this poem. And the quote that I used to write the poem, or that inspired me to write the poem, was by a Greek poet and philosopher from the 20th century. And the quote was, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. And that quote has changed my life.
Thank you so much, Belly Speaks, for joining us on the Fireside Chat. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to watch. And I ask you, please come out to the Fire This Time Festival. Our 10-minute play program begins January 23rd. Belly Speaks Play Out will be featured, and we hope to see you in the house. Thank you. Bye-bye.